welcome to my class. Today we are going to discuss an interesting topic for the discussion, that is role of bioequivalence in pharmacokinetics. Starting with the definition, a pharmacokinetic term, bioequivalence access the in vivo biological exposure equivalence of two different proprietary drug preparation. The word proprietary indicating here the drug which is marketed under the trade name by a company. That type of drugs are called as proprietary drug preparations. Two drug products are considered to be bioequivalent when they produce similar systemic concentration and pharmacological effect. In fact, both bioavailability and bioequivalence studies focus on the release of drug, that is a common thing, from a finished pharmaceutical drug product and is subsequent absorption into the systemic circulation. Here the bioequivalence, we can say simply that it is a comparison of the two drug products when they are having same pharmacological effect and same systemic concentration, then it can be considered as a bioequivalence product. So here is a graphical representation to show that the bioequivalence of a drug. Example, they have taken the Viagra. So the marketed product as well as the generic form of the drug Viagra. When we see here, the maximum concentration of the drug is reached, and here as the time prolongs, time after dose, so in hours, on the x-axis and y-axis they are taken plasma concentration, microgram per ml. So in this graph we can see the AUC, area under the curve, at time t. The initial responses are very good at a hour to exactly at 1 or 1.5 hours. The drug responses are going to be observed, very rapid responses are there, but as the time prolongs, as the time go on increases, that responses will not remain stable, it will go on declining. Again, in the stage of declining there are stages: initial stage, first falling, second falling, and then finally the decline phases are going to be observed. Some of the criteria for bioequivalence studies, so that is exclusion criteria. Means, what is the meaning for exclusion? The exclusion criteria are those criteria which are considered during the formulation, or if it is not required, then it can be removed from the evaluation studies. That type of criteria are called as the exclusion criteria. While they may vary based upon the therapeutic area and preliminary toxicological assessments, the following rules are typically considered as exclusion to bioequivalence studies. So what are they? Let us see one by one. They exhibit potent allergic to test drugs. So when the drug, the test drug is producing some type of allergic reactions, then it has to be exhibited, it has to be removed. Then exhibited liver or kidney dysfunction, when the regular repeated use of the drug causes a patient, he is earlier he is not having the kidney problem, but when he is using any kind of drug, when he repeatedly using that type of drug, when we observe this kidney dysfunction type of symptoms, that type of parameter, that type of drug has to be removed, it has to be excluded, that is exhibited, removed from the prescription. Then suffered from jaundice in the past 6 months. Last 6 months, if he suffered from the jaundice, at that time also it has been excluded. Again, suffered from chronic disorder such as arthritis or asthma, in such situations also it has to be removed. The bioequivalence studies has to be removed. Suffered from psychiatric illness, the person is having some mental disturbance, at that time also it has to be removed from the studies. Then what are the general consideration? If you see, the general consideration for the bioequivalence studies are, according to the FDA and other global regulatory agencies, they usually focus more on the rate and extent of the absorption of an active drug. Means these regulations, whatever the regulations are there, FDA, Food and Drug Administration, and some other global regulatory agencies such as the World Health Organization, these agencies, what they will do, they will focus usually on the rate, that is amount and extent of absorption, how much amount of the drug has been absorbed as an active form, in the active form, that is active drug moiety we are calling, from its pharmaceutical product to reaching its targeted site. When the drug reaches to the targeted site, at that point of time, how much amount of the drug has been released and what is the rate of extent, how much drug has been reached there to particular site. To accomplish in vivo studies more efficiently, it is essential to determine the pharmacokinetic bioanalysis. So to accomplishment, to reach the target, what they are suggesting, the FDA or the global regulatory agencies, they are suggesting that to achieve the targets, the pharmacokinetic bioanalysis has to be performed. How it has to be performed? It has to be performed with the calibrators and control using biological matrix such as the plasma, blood or serum. So for indicating the release of the active drug substances from its final product into the systemic circulation. So this is the general consideration to be followed while we are performing the bioequivalence studies. Next is the pilot study. The pilot studies are often employed to initially validate, to examine the analytical methodology and also to determine the size of the sample. What is the size, sample size? To determine these things, the pilot study has to be done. Pilot study means it has to do the initial study has to be performed to determine the methodology. We have to finalize one methodology that this method has to be followed for performing the bioequivalence studies, and also to determine the size of the sample is required for accurate and precise analysis. Access pharmacokinetic variability, optimize the time course and produce for collection and procedure for collection of the samples, and what is the standard procedures are there that has to be followed to perform the bioequivalence studies, and also to determine the appropriate time length for washout period. In the bioavailability we have to understand what is the washout period. This washout period is means at least 5 elimination half-lives we have to wait after administration of a dose to the patient. Then it is called as a washout period. When the drug has been half of the drug has been eliminated from the body, or the entire drug has been removed from the body, then it is called as complete washout period. So to perform the bioequivalence studies, there are certain criteria to be followed, which is going to be finalized in the pilot study. So this pilot study helps for determining the size of the sample, accurate precise analysis, access pharmacokinetic variability, and also optimize the time course, as well as it helps in collecting procedure of the samples. What procedure to be followed, that one assessment, one idea will get after performing the pilot study. And also to determine, it helps in determining the appropriate washout length time. What is the drug, at what time the drug is going to be washed out from the body, that can be determined by using this pilot study. A flowchart has been given to understand much better about the pilot study. So we have discussed about the pilot study, what the benefits of the pilot study. You just keep it in mind that this is all in this box, the given the pilot study, it contains all the previous point. Now we are proceeding the next step. So when we are proceeding the next step, what we have to do, pre-reading questionnaires and orientation. So whatever the questionnaires are coming across, we have to first of all focus on that questionnaires. We have to understand that one, then we have to project that ideas. After this, what happens, you have to think aloud and you have to go for projecting on that. We have to start working on that. So after working on that, you have to take the task by reading the principles and procedures of that particular pilot study. Then we have to go for comprehension test. Perform that some preclinical trial test has to be done. After that, pre-reading interviews has to be conducted. When all these things has been done, then we can say the pilot study of the product has been finished, we can select it. Coming to the full-scale study. What is the full-scale study? Let us see now. The modified release and immediate release dosage forms are usually tested through non-replicate crossover study design. So non-replicate crossover study design is usually performed for the single dose type of medications, single dose type of drug delivery system, dosage forms you can say. However, presently most of the clinical research institutes employ a replicate study design for performing their bioequivalence studies. Again, the second word here, replicated. So earlier we have discussed about the non-replicate, but now we are discussing about the replicated crossover study design provided an estimation of inter-subject variance both for reference as well as the test product. Coming to the study population. Now how we are going to do this study by using the population, that is study population. The subjects means the individual included under the BA, bioavailability and bioequivalence studies, should be more than 18 years of the age. The primary criteria, the basic criteria, the minimum criteria to perform the study population is that either bioavailability or the bioequivalence. The subject means the individual or the person should be the minimum age group of 18, not less than 18. Above it is okay, but not less than 18. He should be at age of 18 and he should be free from other diseases, other ailments, and he has to be come voluntarily for giving, for he should become a donor, or he has to voluntarily approach for the bioequivalence studies, then only we can perform the bioequivalence studies for that type of individuals only. We are calling it as a subject here. And should be able to give informed consent. It is a regulatory requirement to accomplish both BA and BE studies in healthy volunteers, if it is possible to administer the drug candidates in a healthy population. Earlier we will study, this study population is mainly performed, as I told, in the age group of 18 years, and then the person should be healthy. He should not have the habit of using tobacco, alcohol, or drug addict. He should be free from all these things. Then that type of subject individuals will be considered for the bioequivalence. Now the study population, we can see the flow chart here. So in this flow chart we can say the population, the outermost circle means the all people, common people will be, all the general public are coming under the population here. And the right hand side, on the left hand side of the slide, we can see that in bracket they have given target. Again in the population, some target populations are there, so which can be determined by sampling criteria. So only some group of persons are going to be sampled. Then in the circle image we can see accessible population available to researcher. It is available for the researchers, as well as means the person, those who are under study, research work persons are there, it will helpful for them. Again sample selected with sampling method. Then subject, research participant or information. Finally the subject is going to be performed the study population has been bioequivalence studies has been performed finally on the subject. So the circle indicating that we are going to filter the persons or the population or group of persons based on their habit, based upon their age and other factors. When they are ready, when we are removing all these parameters, the finally the target subjected, the sample is given only to the subject who is free from other habitats and who is interested, who came voluntarily for the bioequivalence studies and who is age of 18. Such type of group of persons only finally they are selected as a subject for bioequivalence studies. Next slide. The bioanalytical methodology. All the bioanalytical methods or a methodology employed in the BA and BE studies should be precise, means should be very limited. It should be accurate, but whatever the results we are observing, it should be very accurate. It should be sensitive. Sensitive means it should be very delicate or sensitive. It is specific. It is particular to one point only, specific, and produce reproducible result. The studies whatever we are performed on BA or BE, it should be reproducible, means once again it can be, if you do the same experiment on that same parameters, it should be repeatable. It should be get the same exact prompt value should be observed. Even though we are doing 3 or 4 clinical trials for BA BE, the result should not be go for variation. It should be precise, accurate, sensitive and specific. So preclinical toxicology and clinical studies requires validated analytical method to ensure these factors along with compound stability. So this is what the bioanalytical method. Fasting and fed administration. So when the patient is selected, now in the pilot study as well as in the study population, we have selected one target or selected one the one particular group has been selected. After selecting, now we are going to feed or fasting. We are going to administer the dosage form or medication in 2 conditions, that is in fasting state as well as in the feed state. The bioequivalence studies or biology studies should be accomplished under fasting condition, that is after overnight. When the person has taken the meal, he should not take any, he should not eat or drink anything during the night period. After overnight fasting of at least 10 hours, the expectation to be observed for fasting administration a lack of tolerability or any adverse reactions. After overnight fasting, after overnight of the taken meal, the drug has been dosage form has been administered to that subject. If such cases are found, then in this condition what happen, he should be tolerable. That person has to be tolerable to that drug or medicine. If such cases are found, if any adverse reactions are there, then he has to be noticed to the bioequivalence, the person who is performing the study. He has to notify that I got this type of adverse reactions, or I am not tolerable for this medication because during this fasting condition I observed these type of symptoms. Like that, he has to voluntarily tell to the person who is performing the bioequivalence study. In such cases are found, if such cases are found, it may become essential, it may become very important for clinical researcher to conduct the feed study for comparison. Means what he will do, that same drug has been given to the same target individual in the feed stage, feed condition. Now they are doing in the fasting condition. The same medicine is given in the feed condition. Several marketed drugs have label indicating the requirement take with the food based on this observation. The person, those who are having the adverse reaction, or the person who is not tolerable to that type of drugs, then he has to be administered in the feed condition. So this is the graph just for example. So showing that the blood sulfalamide level microgram per ml on the y-axis and x-axis their time of administration. We can see here 60 hours, that is fasted condition. The drug when it is given, what is the responses we can see here. Earlier it is showing the maximum responses, but as the time passes, it is also showing the decreased responses. But this condition is not same in all individuals. It will differ from individual to individual. So these two conditions we can observe here. One is the fasted condition, another is the feed condition. The responses we can observe in the graph. Coming to the next one, parent drug versus metabolite. So this slide we have discussed about in the bioavailability also. Anyhow we have come across here. Let us recall once again the old discussion. The basis of the bioequivalence studies release on adequate sampling of biological fluids for determining the drug response. That is the basic criteria for the bioequivalence. Why we are performing bioequivalence? So as to determine the sampling or biological fluid for drug presence, whether the drug is present inside the blood sample or not. To determine that only we are performing the bioequivalence studies. The concentration of the parent drug should always be measured in this biological fluid. Means the main molecule, whatever the main drug is there, it should be observed in traces, at least in trace amount in the biological fluid. Until what time we have to perform this experiment means until the compound becomes undetectable in the systemic circulation. Means the drug has to be totally eliminated from the body. Until that time the blood sampling has to be taken, not continuously. Frequently we have to go for collecting the blood samples. Again we have to see the presence of the presence of drug inside the systemic circulation. If it is not there, then it's well and good. If it is there, then we have to wait for certain time and we have to give some gap, and then we have to go for collection of the sample. In general, it is only a parent drug concentration that is determined rather than any intermediate metabolites. This is so because the parent drug concentration profile more directly reflects the change in formulation performance than what it's seen in case of intermediate metabolites. Indicating what here, if the drug is not converted into metabolites, their action is going to be changes. If the action is if the drug is remain as it is, their action is going to be the person, those who are conducting the experiment, he want to see that the parent molecule, what actually the parent molecule is showing the results, or after converting the metabolites the drug is going to show the responses. This comparison is going to be done from the parent drug versus the metabolites. FDA regulations on the site requirements to perform bioequivalence studies. So what are the FDA regulations which they have framed here? That is designated room to volunteer subject registration cleaning. First of all, the volunteers or the individual, or we can call a subject, who want to perform, who are willing to perform their bioequivalence studies, has to come voluntarily. He has to approach the office, then he has to take the registration, he has to cleaning the area. Designated places for volunteers, recreational areas. Designated places for informed volunteers for obtaining informed consent. Designated ancillary area for the study volunteers. An area designated for pharmacy requirement. Then area designated for restricted pharmaceutical operations. A rooms designated for dosing and sampling collection of the drug under investigation. A designated area should be there for processing and storing of the sample. According to FDA regulation, the person who is performing the bioequivalence study, he has to follow all these FDA requirements. All the regulations has to be followed, and then only has to go for collection of the sample. The next, types of products requiring bioequivalence studies. Not all the pharmaceutical products require the bioequivalence studies. Some products they are listed out here. Let us see one by one. Unless justified, the bioequivalence studies are quite crucial for the following NDAs, new drug approvals. Intermediate release capsules or tablets categorized under the orally administered category. Modified release capsules or tablets are categorized under oral administered drugs. Such type of drugs are required bioequivalence studies. systemic action dependent transdermal patches, because in this systemic action only the drug is going to be observed. Just now in the previous slide we have observed that the frequent sampling, the blood collection are going to be performed to determine the comparison between the parent molecule as well as the intermediate metabolite, to check the comparison, to check the variation between these two only. We are studying about the bioequivalence. The systemic action depends upon the transdermal patches. The depends upon the transdermal patches means based on the drug permeation, penetration, as well as by using permeation enhancers, how long the drug is going to be penetrated inside the blood and how it is going to be enter into the systemic circulation. It depends totally upon the transdermal patches. Coming to the solutions and suspensions, they are categorized under oral administered drug. These type of drugs are also required, the bioequivalence studies. Complex parenteral solutions such as micelle forming formulations, liposomal forming formulations and emulsions also require the bioequivalence studies, because all these formulations are entering into the blood circulation, systemic circulation. Then definitely we need the comparison of the parent drug as well as the intermediate molecule. Systemic action depends on oral immediate release dosage form. So where it is required means the action is required depend upon the non-oral intermediate release dosage form. Non-oral means the given through the rectal route or vaginal route. That type of drugs are exempted from the bioequivalence studies. When are bioequivalence studies not required? So this is the condition. Following new pharmaceutical drug products that do not require any need of undergo bioequivalence studies. They are therapeutic substance based products which are not absorbed either through local absorption or systemic absorption, means the drugs which are bypass from the liver. That type of drugs are not required for the bioequivalence studies. Medicinal gases, the gases such as the asthmatic drugs such as salbutamol, salbutamol type of drugs. I can't exactly say the salbutamol, the gases, medicinal gases drugs, that such as nebulizers also we can say. Yeah, nebulizers can also it is not required for bioequivalence studies. Yes, they have given here the nebulizer solution. The second line we can see here the nebulizer solution. And medicinal gases, that I have to see the medicinal gases, what are the example coming under this. I will give in the comment section that these are the gases are considered under the medicinal gases. Again I have given the nebulizer, the solutions, this also not required for the bioequivalence studies. Then next one, the simple aqueous powder or intravenous solutions explicitly designed for reconstitution. Then biosimilars, local action based nasal sprays. Then vaccines are also not required for the bioequivalence studies. Why are bioequivalence studies important in drug development and research? What is the importance? First of all, as I told, for comparison between the parent molecule as well as the intermediate metabolite. Then now let us see one by one. Bioequivalence studies are crucial for the reason mentioned below. Evaluating relative or absolute bioavailability to determine exact bioavailability of a drug or a dosage form used upon being compared with referral dosage forms. Performing dose proportionality studies for determining the linearity of the bioavailability parameters over the proposed dosage range, up to one particular range. The studies has to be performed to know that how much a drug is available in the systemic circulation. Variation within or between the object, to study the variation between the subjects, between one individual to another individual. Next, performing intervention studies for examining effects both of food and concomitant medication. Performing dosage form proportionality studies for determining an equipotent drug treatment being administered at a different dose strength producing equivalent bioavailability of the drug. It also useful for the requirement of bioequivalence study for ascertaining changes during formulation of manufacturing. So in all these conditions, the bioequivalence studies shows its importance in research and development. So here the end of the slides. We thanks one and all for updating with us. Kindly like, share and subscribe so our updated videos to reach up to you. Once we are uploading the video, it will directly give the notification. There you can have the direct access from for our videos. So it is the informative purpose for the budding pharmacists. They have to take the idea from there. They have to go for thoroughly again. They have to perform the prepare the notes. They have to collect the information from the internet and other textbooks, other areas. they should not consider this as a final notes. This is just an informative purpose, just an idea, not for the preparing for your exam. It will give an information, an idea that what actually the bioequivalence is, and what in which area it is going to be focused, its importance and its determination, and so many parameters can be considered, can be focused here. But you have to take it as a notes, not the you have to take it as a overview only, not the exact the textbook or exact notes. You should not consider it as a notes. Okay, anyhow, thank you one and all for being with us. Kindly like, share and subscribe for more updated videos.